Toronto households are, on average, carrying more than double their incomes in debt as of last fall. Statistics Canada says that means a household with $50,000 of after-tax income is carrying more than $100,000 of debt. StatsCan is going to release the latest debt figures on Thursday. Equifax is also saying that number of people failing to pay their debts went up at the end of 2018 and says it's likely to become the norm this year. So 1 in 5 Canadians with debt are expecting to have to sell some or all of their assets to just keep up with their payments this year. That's according to a poll of more than 1,500 people conducted on behalf of Credit Canada, a nonprofit credit counseling agency. And joining me now is Adriana Molina, Credit Canada spokesperson. So let's talk about how big the debt load of Canadians are this year compared to previous years.
So at Credit Canada, at least in terms of our clients, we've seen it steadily increasing. So in 2017, it was closer to about 15,000 versus now it's creeping up beyond $18,000.
So it sounds like, according to your survey, that 66% of GTA residents who already have debt are predicting that they're actually going to have to take on more. Is it because the cost of living in a big city like Toronto is just becoming unaffordable?
That's a big part of it, especially when you consider housing. It's becoming less affordable for more people. But it also has to do with the rise of unpredictable employment across Canada and also in a big metropolis city like Toronto. So when you have unpredictable employment, you have unpredictable income. So that makes managing your finances and balancing a budget much more difficult because you just don't know how much income you're going to be relying on.
I find it quite shocking that so many people in your survey say they're probably going to have to liquidate, sell their assets, sell what they own, just in order to cover their debt.
And that makes sense, especially when you consider the fact that nearly 50% of Canadians are only $200 away from not being able to pay their bills. So when you're in that kind of a situation, you're living paycheck to paycheck. So your credit rating isn't probably the best. And so when you don't have that great credit rating, you're going to have to look at other options for you. And if you have assets, that's where you're going to go.
Right. So the head of the Bank of Canada is expressing concerns about rising personal debt. What are the consequences to the economy as a whole if this trend continues?
Well, there's a macroeconomic issue and then micro, but obviously when you have consumers and the average Canadian consumer that's not going to be able to achieve their financial goals or be able to keep up with their monthly payments, their monthly expenses, you're going to start to see the real impact on a macro level the longer this continues.
It means that this could very much become a political and election issue. We have a federal election coming up in October. Yep. So what do you think the candidates need to do about this? What do they need to say to Canadians on the campaign trail?
Well, I think the number one thing for all Canadians to know is that there is help available. So whether you seek free not-for-profit credit counseling through an agency like Credit Canada, or you go to a certified financial planner, the most important thing to do is to know that you don't have to face this alone. The next thing is you have to really take a holistic approach to your finances, which means you need to know how much money you have coming in versus how much you have going out on a month-to-month basis.
All right, Adriana, thank you for joining us. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay.